Hey beautiful souls, welcome to my channel. If you are new, welcome. If you are coming back, welcome back. I'm so glad to have you. On this channel, we talk about healing, self-love and care, and becoming the woman of your dreams. And so today I want to share with you the real actions that I took to elevate my life. Not just externally, but internally, because my glow up didn't start with the makeup, hair, and clothes. It started with my healing. Are going to have 8 different segments. And so with the first segment, we are going to talk about healing and inner work. So I started healing my trauma. In doing so, I healed my attachment issues and people-pleasing tendencies. The healing actually really freed me. It allowed me to start differently in my own life. I stopped reacting to everything that triggered me. And instead, I learned to respond. And honestly, that was a game changer. I also started incorporating daily affirmations, ones that helped me retrain my subconscious mind to believe in a new story. Every morning, I spoke love and life into myself. I affirmed the woman I was becoming and not the woman I used to be. As I healed and started to feel more worthy, I began to glow up physically, mentally, and spiritually. That was such a game changer because if I never did that healing work, I wouldn't be the woman I am today. I wouldn't feel that I could even have gotten there because I was in such a low and dark place. We are going to now move on to how I went from the healing to making myself a priority and changing my environment. So not everybody has to do this, but this is something that I did, and I felt that it was really something that was needed for me and my family. One of the biggest shifts, that came after my divorce was final, because if you didn't know, I went through a divorce and it triggered a whole renewal of myself, right? My divorce was finalized. I felt the deep need to reset. I decided I'm going to sell my house. I sold my home and relocated to a better area. Now, everybody was not a fan of this. The kids didn't really want to do it. This was a place that I've always dreamed of living in, the area, right? Now, it finally aligned perfectly because my son was starting middle school. So he was going into a new school where he would be around, meeting new kids and everything like that. So that's where I said, you know what, this is the perfect time to change my environment. And it was one of the best decisions I could have ever made. It helped me elevate my energy and gave me a fresh start. I didn't know anybody in the area. My son got to go to a new school where he didn't really know anybody. And, as scary as that was, it was also like exciting and refreshing at the same time. For the first time, I started making myself a priority. I realized how often I had put everyone else before me and how draining, depressing, and frustrated that made me feel. By putting myself first, I started discovering who I actually was. I had lost myself in motherhood and in life for so long that I didn't even know who I was anymore. So these little different things helped me rediscover me. Helped me figure out what actually I enjoyed. What restaurants did I love? Because, with the kids, I always went to restaurants that were kid friendly, that the kids could eat something because they were picky eaters, so I was never really up to eating, trying new things and stuff like that. And also at that time, my now ex-husband, he was, a picky eater too. So it was just like, everybody was such a picky eater. I didn't have the freedom to really go to or at least I didn't feel like I had the freedom to try new restaurants that I would have, enjoyed more. It was, really fun and exciting. And then I also had the chance to figure out what hobbies made me happy. I tried some new stuff, and I still have some to do on my list, to be honest. But, I tried out a lot, and it was nice to try those things. And now, going from there, I also created a morning routine and rebuilding my foundation. And I guess when I do say we, I mean me and God, because God has been with me through this whole process and really has helped me with, the healing and rediscovering myself. So I began creating structure in my days. I followed a morning routine that helped me set my intentions, because prior to this, my life was a complete mess. I would, snooze my alarm, get out of bed at the last second and rush around and get myself all in the works because I wasn't sleeping well at night. So it was hard for me to wake up in the morning, and then I had to get my kids together and get them situated. It was I tell you, it was a mess. As I created this morning routine for myself, it helped me set my intentions. It helped me restructure and reorganize my life a bit so that everything didn't seem so chaotic. And it was such a great start of my day, right? Because I was no longer frantic and, I was able to start a little smoother, and not every day was perfect, but it was a lot better than what I lived prior to that, right? I was able to spend a quiet time with God every morning, which gave me the peace and clarity. I retrained my subconscious mind daily to believe the new story I was telling it, as I mentioned earlier. And with each small act of consistency, I began to feel more put together. Little by little, my confidence grew. Not because life was perfect, but because I was showing up for me every day, no matter what that looked like. I also kind of refined my health and fitness goals. For years, I struggled with body dysmorphia. It didn't matter what I did. I got down to even a very healthy weight where I felt that I looked good, but my mind still kept replaying that old version of me, and I couldn't get it out of my head. So no matter how small I got, what my body looked like, I still looked at myself as, unattractive, fat. It was just not a good thing. But as I gone through my healing process and learning different things, I started feeling more freedom and started loving my body for what it actually has done for me and not just how it looks. And that was freeing, right? Because I'm strong. I've had 4 children. My body has gotten me through a ton of different things. It doesn't really matter. Yeah, I have a little chubbiness to me, but I guess I'd rather have the chubbiness than having very sickly where I'm not, able to do what I'm able to do, right? Some people can't walk. I'm blessed enough where I can walk every day. And so I just had to retrain my brain to think about my body differently. And it was a very, very freeing. I had to tell myself daily that I love you. You are beautiful. You are strong. And every time I would pass myself in the mirror, I would tell myself how beautiful I was and how much I loved her. It started changing everything for me. From that place of self-love, I created another fitness routine, right? Not from hate or punishment, because that's where I used to come from, but from love and respect. I was working out previous to this. But I was working out because I hated my body. I wanted to change my body so bad, and I was willing to do anything and everything that I could possibly do to change it. So coming from center of love, now I was able to make sure that my workouts were a mix of things that I enjoy. I actually tried a lot of different things because I wasn't sure, to be honest, of what I was doing, if it was really something I truly enjoyed or if it was coming out of the hatred that I used to have for myself. So I put my strength training on pause for a little while, and I started trying to do some different things. And then I did get back into strength training, but it was like more with dumbbells, and it was more like arm day, chest day, leg day, different things like that, versus how I used to do the strength is I used to do like CrossFit style workouts. I said, okay, let's see if I want to try to designated days for designated parts of my body and things like that. I tried that for about 6 months actually, and tried some different things. And what I finally came to the conclusion with is, I really love the CrossFit strength training. So I rejoined a gym for that because I took some time off during COVID. I stopped going because of the restrictions and having to wear a mask and all of that. It just wasn't something that I was interested in doing at the time. So I didn't have a subscription, and I ended up investing a lot in equipment at home. So I started working out at home. After a while, even trying to do it here, it got kind of boring. It's like, oh, and then what I would do is I wouldn't push myself as much. And, I really missed the community at the end of the day. So that's why I went back into the gym scene instead of just trying to work out at home. Not to mention, I couldn't get into a lot of the workouts that I wanted to do at home because I no longer had like the ceiling space in my town. So I wasn't able to do what I really love to do. So I wanted to not lose that. So I rejoined a gym closer to my new place. And it's kind of funny. It's not the exact same place, but because it has different owners, but it was kind of like a company that I started with back before I started the CrossFit. They actually did in boot camp classes. And yeah, that was years ago, because I was a little scared of the CrossFit at first. So I went to the boot camp class and then moved eventually to a CrossFit class, but in a different area. It wasn't in that gym. And, I kind of felt drawn. God was drawing me back to this place. And, he put this place in my spirit a few times. And I'm like, are you sure? Are you sure? And yes, I tried it out and I do enjoy that. So we did that. And then I figured out with this health and fitness, people say this works, that works, everything works, right? But it all depends on what works for you. What works for one, it may not work for the other. And it just really gets underneath my skin when people really talk trash about, oh, you're cutting out, food groups and things like that. Well, I think, we'll get to that more into detail on that in just a moment. But also, there was a lot of people talking trash about, oh, don't do HIIT workouts because that makes your cortisol levels high and all this stuff, So I was like, oh dear, maybe that's part of my problem, right? Maybe I should stop doing that, but it wasn't. So I ended up starting back into doing my HIIT workouts through Shaun T's workouts that I really enjoy. And I did those years ago. I don't love being on a machine for an hour doing the same thing to just burn some calories, right? I love that, the intensity. I love the mixture. I love that the HIIT workouts are a mixture of cardio and strength, and it really transforms my body. So I went back to HIIT cardio as well. And the combination of both of those helped me feel strong, confident, and very energized. Now we're going to get back to where things can be confusing and how one person says this and how another person says that. And, oh, don't eat this, do that. And you don't have to cut out carbs because, your body needs it. Let me just tell you, honey. I'm insulin resistant, so guess what? I can't eat the carbs. As much as I would love to eat all the carbs, I can't. My body doesn't digest them, and it's not healthy for me to eat them. I have some, but I can't have a lot. I do have a lot. Guess what? My body doesn't metabolize them. The carbs, right? It basically stores it as fat on my body. And then I'm just, it starts pouring out from my liver into my abdominal area. And then your belly gets a little hard and looking pregnant and bloated and just not so very sexy. You have to figure it out for yourself and try some different things, because don't let those videos shame you and make you feel like you're doing something wrong or that you should be eating a certain way or whatever. You can only eat a certain way when your body agrees to it. And what I recently learned is, because I went to many doctors about this and they were able to tell me what the situation was. I always took my blood work when I was on a fasted state. So my blood work would always come back good. But at the same time, I would struggle nonstop with my weight and stuff. So it's just been, like a cycle of things trying to figure out like what the problem is. And now I finally figured it out. I don't want to be on medicine. I don't want to do that so I can eat the carbs. So I rather stay on low carb to no carb and use fasting in some different ways to help me make my body strong and efficient, and, you know, the way that I want it to be. And so after that, the health and fitness, right, I started prioritizing my skin and health. And this was, you know, another big change because I started, you know, treating my skin and overall health like as a top priority. I always struggled with my skin since I was young. And I tried, you know, going to many doctors about it and trying to figure it out. And he told me that once I turned 35, my skin would get better. Well, spoiler alert, it didn't, okay? And I discovered that I was insulin resistant, which no one was able to catch before. Once I learned that the insulin was actually a hormone, say when you get the acne like on your jawline, that it's hormonal, right? But I was trying to figure out what hormone was the problem, and nothing was ever coming up in my blood work. And then, you know, finally within these last couple of years, God has showed me lots of different things, and I have been able to figure out by past experiences plus, you know, what I felt when I was eating those carbs and just different things like that, that I am actually insulin resistant. Insulin is actually a hormone. And so when insulin spikes, it is causing all this riffraff in your body. And once you do it over and over and over and over again, like your body is just a mess, right? Once I started figuring that out, you know, stopped eating the carbs as much. You know, it's not perfect, but it's a lot better than what it used to be. And I also took the time and I invested in laser treatment for my scarring. And wow, it has definitely changed everything. Like my skin went from, I would say, like a 3 being bad, you know, to an 8 in terms of improvements. And the investment in myself built even more confidence within myself. And then I started also learning how to romanticize my life and really start getting into my feminine energy. Because let me tell you, you know, previously I was very much in my masculine energy. I was married, but I was also, you know, my older 2 kids, like I am the surviving parent of them, became a single mom for them very early on. Like my son's father passed away when I was 6 months pregnant and turned into a single mother before he was even born. And that really put me into my masculine energy because I had to do, I had to create, I had to take care of everything, I had to do the job and, you know, try to be the mom, the dad, the everything, right? That really held me on to my masculine energy. And honestly, I just got stuck there for years. And I just recently, you know, was able to, during this reinvention process, the healing and everything else like that, I was able to start tapping into more of my feminine energy and learning how to do both, right? To be in my masculine energy when I need to, and then also be able to flip over to my feminine energy. And that was helpful by healing some of my mother and my father wounds. You know, when you have mother and father wounds, that really kind of shows up in how you never really kept myself as a priority, especially, you know, becoming a single mother at a young age. Like I just didn't have the time. I was very much trying to get to work and, you know, and at that time I didn't have a license. So, I mean, I had to even leave my house like 2 hours before my schedule because I had to take the bus and then I had to go downtown and transfer, get another bus to get to my other place so I get to work on time. And it just was a lot. So I never felt that I could be in my feminine essence because I never had the time. I always was on the go and had to really take care of my kids. So as I was dressing for the part and leaving that old self behind, like I realized like, wow, this feels good. I started feeling like my dream woman. But I also realized that to feel like my dream woman, I had to show up as her. Now I get ready every day. And even if I'm not going anywhere, I wear things that make me feel feminine, beautiful, and powerful. This simple change shift my energy and confidence completely. I have even taken the time to really figure out like different makeup, eye makeup ways and just different things like that. So, try some different things and find what you love the best and then go with it. Right? Then as I started, dressing the part and feeling more feminine that way, I started really embodying the feminine essence, right? I started tapping deeper into my feminine energy. And that part of me was the part of me that was soft, magnetic, and in a flow, but I never really was able to get into that because of my life, right? Started dancing, practicing yoga, took some soothing baths. I mean, I've always loved baths, but I even allowed myself to receive. The more I practiced, feminine energy, the more relaxed and radiant I became. I was no longer about hustling. I was all about aligning. Even like I mentioned a minute ago about receiving, right? Because before I wasn't open to receive. I was like, I'll do it myself because, becoming a single mother and, all of that, like, I just felt that I couldn't count on anybody because even in my younger days, I would ask for help with one thing or another and, be shamed for that or not helped and stuff like that. So like receiving turned really difficult for me. And so being able to allow myself to receive was freedom for me. It was nice. It was like, yeah, this is actually a beautiful feeling instead of feeling like, oh no, we can't do that. So, and if that maybe resonates with you a little bit, yes, allow yourself to receive. Go slow with it. Like how I started it, I've shared this in some other video as well, but I'll share it here again. The way that it all started for me was I went and bought dog food at the pet store and they offered me to bring my 25-pound bag of dog food in to put it in my car. I turned it down, the first time. I said, no, no, thank you. I got it, And then God like gave me the lowdown when I got home. It was like, no. I want you to accept that next time. So the next month when I went back to the pet store and bought another 25-pound bag, they asked me if I would like to help with bringing the bag out to my car. And I said yes. And it was nice. So I was like, okay, I can do this, right? And so just start with those simple things of receiving for a little help. Something for you, holding the door for you, whatever. Just those little actions and just make sure that you say thank you and that you are grateful for those things. I became more confident. I became more my dream woman. I started learning, investing in myself, right? Like expanding and investing in myself. Like I invested in myself a few times, like with the gym membership, but again, it was all out of trying to change my body and stuff like that because I didn't like it. I never really invested just to invest. I learned that investing was good, learning new things, just trying to do different things as well was just a great way to enhance myself. I enrolled in a couple courses to support my expansion that helps me with my mentally, physically, and spiritually. And that honestly made all the difference because when you invest in yourself, you send a message to the universe that you are ready for more. So those are the actions that I took to elevate my life. It wasn't one big moment. It was hundreds of small choices that added up to something very beautiful. Saying yes to myself by healing, investing in me, loving my body, changing my environment, and showing up every single day as the woman I was becoming really helped elevate my life and gave me the confidence and worthiness that I I lacked right prior. If this video resonated with you, let me know in the comments and share one action taking away and that you're going to try right now to elevate your life. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and share with somebody who needs a reminder that this transformation is possible for them too. I love you all so much, and I'll see you in the next video. Good luck in your elevation. Bye.